Alrighty, fellow Deathbats and Lady Deathbats, welcome into Deathbat Nation, and in this video today, I'm going to be reviewing Armor for Sleep's newest album, There Is No Memory. I listened to it a little bit, and I just want to give my take on it, being that it is release day, and just let you guys know how I feel about the album overall, and give my full rating at the end. So let's just get into it. Alrighty, so here's the album cover. I'm gonna go over the album art like normal, and then I'm gonna go into the track list over here on the side. See, I made this today because I couldn't find the track list on the internet here, so I just wanted to go over the songs and go over the whole album itself like I normally do. So let's just get into it. So, the album artwork. Now, I'm not too much of a fan of how this looks. Now, it does work with their music. The album cover does really match with the sound that they are releasing. So I will give this album cover a 8. I don't normally give it that low, but because of the cover itself, it it's not my favorite in the world. But they are going with the sound. They're going with the releasing of the sound. Now, um, let's just get over here to the music now, and I will talk about this right here. So, all of these songs, you can see that I rated them differently. And basically, the way I rated them is by how they sound to me. Um, Pretty much like if one song is a little bit slower, and it wasn't clicking for me, I labeled it an 8. But the album overall has the same sound throughout it. Just a sound of its own. Um, and like I said again, the album art cover just reaches out to connects well with the music. So I do like what I heard. It just isn't up there for me. I want to say it is a good band. I will say they remind me a lot of like Atreyu and other bands like that that have existed in the past. That I know these guys have been around for a while. But this is a band I would have listened to. I like them. Don't get me wrong; they sound good, but there's something I would have heard come out of like the earlier 2000s, which is like what most of this music I listen to remind me of like music from earlier times. Um, you know, Pretty good album overall. And I have my select few songs here. So let me go over those real quick for you. So my favorites out of this album were The Outer Ring, In Another Dream, I'd Set Fire, Last Days. Those are my 4 picks from this album that I really, really liked. I usually pick 3, but there were 4 here that I really liked. And they just have a really good sound. Overall, the sound is it works together, but it has a lot of faster, heavier songs, and then it has a lot of slower songs. So I do think, if you're into that kind of stuff, it is. I will say it is, more directed at the genre of people who listen to emo music, as opposed to like an actual person who really, really listens to metal. Um, and that's just my take on the whole thing. So let me go back and give my overall rating on this album, and do my outro. All right, so I give this full album a full 9 out of 10. It's pretty good for what it is. I do suggest listening to it if you are into that genre of like music, where it's like metalcore, because that's pretty much what it was. That's pretty much what the band is metalcore music. I do like metalcore, but I some bands just I like them, but they're not as great as some other bands are, and that's just how it goes for me. I'm not dissing on this band. I'm not saying anything bad about this band. They just are not up there for me. I've heard of them before. I'm sure there's Armor for Sleep fans out there somewhere. But yeah, that's my opinion and my take on this album. So if you like this, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back for another one in some time in the future. So take it easy and rock on, fellow Deathbats and Lady Deathbats.